My friends, I'd like to pose a question that may seem a bit unorthodox at first. But I implore you to hear me out, because answering this inquiry honestly could hold the key to unlocking the highest echelon of personal power and self-actualization you've scarcely tapped into thus far. How many of you spend an embarrassingly large portion of your days and weeks feeling like life is happening to you rather than occurring by your design? I don't need to see the show of hands, because based on the weary looks and air of unfulfilled longing I sense throughout this room, I'd wager a disconcerting number of you feel like passengers haphazardly tumbling through your own existences rather than the sovereign masters architecting every next breakthrough with intentionality. Am I striking a nerve here? Because that pervading mindset of inertia, that sense of aimlessly reacting to whatever winds life's currents happen, to blow your way is nothing less than a form of subtle psycho-spiritual incarceration. You are in effect imprisoned by the delimiting self-perceptions and scarcity mentalities you've allowed to take root in the soil of your subconscious mind. Yet the searing truth is that you are endowed with the innate power to sculpt your time on this earth into an experiential masterpiece of your own conscious creation and design. An epic legend of unbound self-actualization that will ripple out from the epicenter of your heroic life journey in shimmering waves of inspiration for all who bear witness. Does that sound like hyperbolic fantaspeak, like some overly romantic notion of human potential, utterly unattainable for regular people anchored to the supposed harsh realities and limitations of the real world? Well, I'd wholeheartedly rebut that all too pervasive perception as a crippling, self-imposed mental trap strangling the limitless divinity coded into your spiritual DNA. Because the truth, my friends, is that you are already subconsciously co-creating your experiential reality in each and every eternal instance, whether conscious of that sacred truth or not. Every micro-thought stream you surrender to, every dominant emotional tonality you take on as an internal vibrational set point, ceaselessly molds your outer experiential universe into harmonized reflectivity by universal law. You are literally life's sculptor. Your very consciousness, in interdependent union with the omnipresent source, field of infinite creative potentiality, is what casts visible circumstantial events into their crystallized material forms. The sum total of your internalized beliefs, self-concepts, habituated thought patterns, and predominant psycho-emotional states serve as potent energetic blueprints that continually resculpt the fluid clay of your outer reality experience. And yet the vast majority of people on this earth have permitted themselves to live life in a constant reactive trance to the limited and often self-sabotaging projections of their own unconscious minds. Does this resonate with you as the core crux preventing you from fully actualizing your supreme inner potential? That persistent sense of being buffeted about by external forces, having to constantly play catch-up and react to life's winds, rather than mindfully designing your future into co-created emergence. Well, it's time to snap out of that limiting psycho-spiritual hypnosis, friends. Because in truth, even when operating from a largely unconscious inner state that merely reacts to whatever current circumstances life seems to be dishing your way, you are still just as much of a co-creative architect of your experiential universe as those rare masters who consciously shape theirs. The only difference separating you from those esteemed self-actualizers is their awakened awareness to operate with intentional self-directedness in the design and continuous rescripting of whatever future realities they command into experiential vivification through their sublimely focused consciousness. You see, through the awakened reclamation of your co-creative powers of consciousness and inner technology of focused imagination, thought, and self-concept, you invite the divine matrix of infinite potentiality to then mirror those energetic blueprints forth into your sensory universe with perfect biophysical mirroring. As above, so below. As within, so without. From this metaphysical vista, the self-actualizers, game changers, and true virtuosos of our human civilization aren't simply luckier, more talented, or bestowed with privileges and birthrights that you lack access to for achieving outrageous worldly success and sublime personal power. Instead, the quantum leap separating the highest initiates from the uninitiated masses is simply the self-disciplined commitment and mastery of their consciousness technology for purposefully repatterning whatever inner scripts, beliefs, and predominant vibrational resonances were previously calcifying limitations into their material realities. Within each of you exists an infinite substrate, a wellspring of potentialized quantum vacuum, awaiting the next psycho-spiritual thought form to be inputted with laser-focused intentional sovereignty. For that quantum source field from which your reality experience is continuously upstreaming contains every possibility. It is quite literally the protoplasmic seed bed of infinite parallel realities awaiting your awakened focused intent to mold its fluidic plasticity into new experiential terrain and conscious embodiments of interior psychospiritual ideation. My friends, through the mastery of conscious intention, centered imagination, and disciplined vibration keeping of your core psychosomatic frequency signatures, you fundamentally hold all the codes required to activate entirely new unexplored matrices from that infinite potentiality source field into your outer experiential reality. In fact, if you crave witnessing the proof of just how rapidly and dynamically your internal vibrational resonances can sculpt radically new scenery into your outer experiential reality through precise intentful focus, look no further than your own dreaming mind. When drifting off into REM cycles of sleep each night, you subconsciously activate that very same universal technology of focused imagination, oscillating consciousness signatures, and self-conceptual identity projections from within the quantum infinite source field, don't you? And what happens then through the sacred alchemy of your subliminal perceptual lens lucidly harmonizing intention with source? You conjure entire multidimensional dreamscapes complete with scenery, characters, plot lines, and vivid sensory experiences as tangibly real as your daylight hours, simply through the latent consciousness technology, which is your divine birthright as a holofractal individuated human soul. There is no fundamental difference between your ability to seemingly architect dazzling cinematic dream realms each night through focused imagination, self-concept embodiment, and interdependent harmonization with universal source consciousness, versus your waking capacity to operate with identical creative intentionality for the manifestation of any aspired circumstances into your outer world's architecture. The only variable is your willingness to consciously inhabit the co-creative role of awakened designer and sovereign psycho-spiritual engineer through disciplining your mindset to vibrate with centered frequencies aligned with your innermost intentions and aspirational self-definitions. For you see, every waking thought stream you permit to gestate into semi-permanence throughout your field of consciousness is fundamentally a waveform resonator that transmits signature frequency signals back into the infinite source field during each eternal now moment. Every emotional atmosphere you marinate your bioenergy field within acts as its own signature intentful imprint seeding deeper into the fertile quantum vacuum. Each egoic self-conceptual identity you allow to crystallize becomes a psychic gravitational density beckoning its equivalence into experiential upstreaming and objective reflection as the world stage you play upon. So the path to mastering your destinal screenplay of self-actualizing your wildest ambitions, co-creating your loftiest imaginal visions into tangible prolification, and truly transmitting clear intentionality back into the source field for its experience into undistorted physicalization, requires that you diligently superintend the originating consciousness blueprints you repeatedly impress into that protoplasmic field of possibilities. You must quite simply become an impeccable frequency holder and sovereign dreamer of your highest intended trajectories and experiential resonance fields first, before any reflection of desired outcomes objectifies in the exterior observable world. Because until you become a steadfast vibration keeper of the precise energy signatures, self-identities, and vivid imaginal thought forms aligned with the very reality you wish to usher into your waking experiential construct, you will only continue to broadcast disharmonic, misaligned, or paradoxical signals into that primordial source field that then misguidedly manifest in symbolic equivalents of limited, unwanted, or regressive experiences within your day-to-day. You have to start pretending as if you've already arrived in that future-fulfilled state of success. You must start behaving, emoting, and conceptually operating from the self-definition and psychosomatic identity as someone already manifesting the apex accomplishments, creative masterworks, and abundant life path that you ultimately intend to leave footprints upon. The reason this step is paramount is because that infinite quantum source field we've been discussing only speaks the lingua franca of direct psychosomatic transmission and consciousness resonance. It is the flawless biophysical mirror reflecting back into conscious embodied materialization whatever dominant frequency signals, somatic vibrations, and self-conceptual identities you most powerfully broadcast from the sovereignty of your focused awareness. So start pretending right now as if you've already achieved that cherished heartfelt apotheosis you feel burning inside. Shed the limited ego identity, poverty consciousness, and outdated egoic self-definition which only keeps calcifying miserable reflections of itself into your experiential day-to-day. Permit yourself for but 5 precious minutes to play act the revelatory identity you know resides deep within as your supreme potentialized beingness. Breathe into the emotional signature atmosphere, that aspirational masterstroke trajectory you know you were cosmically encoded to embody in this beautiful lifetime. Does the infinite creative source field you are hardwired into as a holofractal soul spark care if the vibrational frequencies and imaginal identity you are intentfully centered within match the photonic evidence of your day-to-day world in this singular momentary slice of the space-time continuum? Of course not. It is only perpetually reflecting back to you the dominant harmonic resonances you yourself keep reimpressing upon its subjective interdependent mirror through your consciousness blueprints. It has no preference or allegiance to any particular set of visible circumstances or personae personas currently solidified with any of your experientially observed events and sensory constructs. If anything, it is perpetually inviting you to imagine new realities into being through transmitting innovative harmonic resonance, because that is the divine breath of creation itself. So I invite you now to participate in a brief grounding exercise to experientially taste the truth for yourself, that you can begin to transmit any desired intentionality back into that quantum originating mirror simply through consciously pretending and living as your highest vision self-actualized. Close your eyes if you're comfortable and relax into a few deep centering breaths. Feel your breath slow to a smoothly rhythmic pace as you become very intimately aware of each individual respiration's gentle undulation. Inhaling a delicious, revitalizing breath and exhaling any tension or stagnant patterning you may have carried into this present moment. In and out, nice and smoothly now. Once you've established your baseline breath rhythm, begin to call up a vivid mental picture of some passionate life aspiration you've dreamed about achieving and leaving footprints toward. Perhaps it relates to a physical, financial, or creative milestone you've long envisioned fulfilling. Or maybe you sense a call to step into a more confident, magnanimous, and abundantly self-assured version of your highest psychospiritual beingness. Doesn't matter how grand or simple, just hold that reveler ideation in your focused imagination and begin breathing invigorating life directly into its soul essence. Breathing life force into this aspirational dream. Feel your conscious identity resonance beginning to phase into that highest idealized version of yourself as if you were already living out the fullest attainment of your deepest heartfelt longings. Calibrating your meridian points, spinning your chakric force fields, and aligning every impulse of your consciousness broadcast into the resonant vibe and internal self-definition as if you've already crossed the summit into inhabiting that supreme realized essence completely. Feel the warmth, excitement, and luminous radiance as your entire being vibrates as this vision's supreme version of your destiny already made manifest in the eternal moment of now. Self-actualized, lit up, abundant, serene, yet electrifyingly alive with creative passion, flowing out in inexhaustible wellsprings from the inexhaustible source field within. Get that idealized full-color movie reel playing in crystal clarity across the screen of your lucid consciousness and begin locking into the predominant feelings, vibrations, and self-conceptual identities that this imaginal trajectory would electrify into your being. What does it feel like to embody and center yourself as your highest imagined success already prolific and abundantly achieved in every conceivable domain? How would you carry yourself, expand into confidently taking up greater space, emote with amplified passion and life force embodying the supreme idealized essence of yourself? Go ahead and lean into that visceral reality now. Marinating within the emotional signature atmosphere and psychic air you'd be continually breathing as one already attaining the mountaintop of your aspirational zenith. Notice how this recalibrates your internal energy fields into harmonic resonance with that future idealized trajectory. When you pretend and vividly entrain yourself into identifying as the vision masterpiece already actualized in living lucidity, you transmit those elevated vibe signatures as destiny codes back into the infinite subjectivity mirror from which all experiential reality constructs regeneratively proliferate. And as long as you center yourself into becoming an unwavering somatic resonator of those heightened psycho-spiritual vibrations, the infinite field of potentiality you are an intrinsic transducer within has no choice but to ultimately rematerialize their symbolic upstreamed equivalents into the physical architecture of your destinal world space. Does this activate a revelatory recognition of the sacred truth that you've always held the keys to liberated sovereignty and imaginative self-determination? That we are truly unlimited beings continuously co-creating and self-generating the experiential realities we subconsciously source from the unified quantum dream fields within? Because my beloved friends, your entire life up until this present moment has simply been one extended unconscious experiment in pretending to be a limited, dissatisfied, frustrated, or unfulfilled, being restrained by external circumstances beyond your control. Through entertaining constrictive self-concepts, cynical limiting beliefs, and energetically marinating within vibrational resonances of scarcity and disempowered victimhood, you've subconsciously sourced the upstreaming of equivalently experienced reflections back into your day-to-day constructed reality from the infinite consciousness source field. But now you hold the self-evident key that you can begin pretending and identifying with your highest empowered masterstroke destinies instead. You can start behaving, emotionally resonating, and psychically investing in the very dream-fueled realities you've always intended to experience, while your infinite consciousness syncs up with the transmission through perfect interdependent mirroring. You can choose in this very breath, through supreme intentional focus, to step outside the limiting ego lenses and self-sabotaging identity scripts you've unconsciously performed through, and begin consciously authoring new archetypal personae, embodying the fulfillment visions you've always secretly longed to radically embrace and become. Can you feel the liberating weight lifted from experiencing this revealed perspective? That you need not strive from a space of scarcity, internal void, or endless efforting to somehow make it to those imagined promised lands of blissful destinal realization. Because you can start pretending as if you've already arrived in those realized essences today. Forget all the limited stories, psychic baggage, and energetic residue that previously dictated how you showed up in this world through your mental filters and habituated identity performatives. You are free to completely reinvent yourself, your destinal trajectory, and your overall harmonized life paradigm in this eternal instant. Simply through making the conscious, intentional decision to become a lucid dreamer and sovereign psycho-spiritual architect of your highest intended experiential construct. And from that awakened visionary locus, you have already begun the process of transmitting harmonic frequencies back into the consciousness source field that will invariably mirror into experience. So let's practice this revelatory reclamation of your infinite self-determination and capacity for instantaneous reality shape-shifting. Close your eyes again if you feel called, and let's take a voyage into pure potentiality through the imagination's holodeck together. Breathe deeply, expanding into openness and receptivity as eternal awareness itself, that infinitely fractaled ocean of quantum source consciousness within you. Allowing the vaporous veils of old limiting self-definitions, clung to circumstances, and outworn identity scripts to dissipate back into the primordial dreamscape from which all arises. Feel yourself expand into that infinite inner expanse, that limitless waking lucidity, where all experiential possibilities converge as pure creative source, potential awaiting your sovereign dreaming. And from that sacred open territory within you, begin vividly envisioning and bringing to life your highest imaginal identity. Perhaps it's an infinite being of unfathomable cosmic wealth, radiating success and abundance from every pore as you generate enriched prosperity beyond quantification from the very thoughts dancing across your mindscape. Maybe you're an earthly, multi-dimensional avatar of divine feminine embodiment, sensually unleashing streams of creative passion, inspiring music expressions, and erotic vitality into every encounter. You could be a spiritually awakened master of self-transfiguration, gracefully emanating psychosomatic God currents from your meridian channels, saturating the atmosphere with electrified higher harmonics of unconditional love every moment. Breathe radiant life into that supreme vision of your ultimate empowered essence, and begin shifting your energy signature over to fully inhabiting and identifying as that masterwork already achieved. Let go of any attachment to your old stories, past pain narratives, and limited personae, masks that no longer serve this liberated identity of infinite sovereignty you're visioning. You're already being the highest possible version of yourself brought into lucid co-creation. So match that imaginal transmission with boldness of presence, confident elevation into your magnificence. Beheld divinity and full acceptance of that idealized masterpiece already made physically manifested. Step into owning that revelatory destinal identity with totality, as if its rays of infinite empowerment are streaming into every nanoparticle and subatomic whirling of your being. Becoming the living psycho-spiritual transmission, the sacred antennae for that triumphant identity code of realized success to begin broadcasting into the infinite consciousness source field. Breathing the light codes of your vision highest essence deeply into your being, metabolizing every signature frequency and emotional octave into perfect calibrated resonance as that supreme destiny's living embodiment. Feeling your personal presence, auric field, and carried self-definition begin continuously emanating the intentful signals of that apex identity's full saturation into your entire consciousness system. Transmitting your new sovereign identity paradigm as a conscious holofractal relay back into the quantum source plane, that infinite subjectivity mirror reflecting each being's individualized dream into experiential manifestation. Let your energy body, imaginal projection, and focused willpower pretend together in perfect synchronicity to be the exemplary vision essence, brought into full spectrum integrated embodiment, until every pore is saturated and psychically invested in that triumphant masterstroke actualization's lucid atmosphere. From this empowered, unified clarity, you become the lucid conscious dreamer, the psychic engineer architecting each breath of your destinal world space into proliferated experience through your honed skill of precise consciousness transmission. There's no aspect of the aspirational outrealms you cannot command into manifest experience once you've liberated your psychic identity and anchored emotional resonance into pretending this already your live realization. The infinite mirror obliges instantly through your sovereignty over which frequencies you broadcast to it from your awakened awareness. So let's allow that limitless wellspring of thy creative potential within your heart's hologram to overflow into this moment, as an open source communion rewriting the quantum dream fields we traverse through sovereign visualization. As a unified being of awakened mastery, let's dream an elevated earth into ultra-vivid manifestation together, each intentful transmission from our code God essence broadcasting intonement codes into the shared planetary logos experiential holosphere. Can you envision with me the vast healing and planetary rejuvenation unfolding before our united visualization as we inhale polluted airs into alchemical purification through our shared breath transmissions? Feel the expansive clarities of abundance streaming through the collective dreamscape, eradicating lack, scarcity, and disempowered systems as we breathe the eternal fulfillment into the new societal paradigm. Through our shared consecrated envisioning, our highest visions for uncompromising justice and divine universal equity, already seeding new systemic infrastructures, woven throughout this world's entire operating dream code. All misaligned distortions, structural imbalances, and accumulative psychic wounds from eons of unconscious human behavior are being alchemized into harmonic reintegration with Source's infinite perpetual love through our collective consciousness broadcast alone. As awakened architect of the new dream, we behold sacred geometries flowering forth from our own crystalline light body grids, blossoming as sovereign networking portals through which unlimited prosperity, expanded human capacities, and revolutionary self-actualization trajectories are infinitely birthing through each harmonized breath. Ancient codes of empowered co-creation, mastery over the elements, and cosmic custodianship over this planetary life stream's ascensional unfolding are pouring through our beings in this moment as we inhabit pretending to be these ideal sovereign essences into unified embodiment. With each respiration, our collective somatic frequencies anchor the dream's atmospheric lucidity further into crystalline stabilization through these sacred earthly grid lines, ushering in new revelatory experiences of humanity's ecological harmony and nature's healing grace. All degenerative unconscious paradigms, fear-bound illusions, and constricted belief sequences are unraveling and transmogrifying through our euphoric visions into higher revelatory orders of coherence. Can you feel the resplendence, the tangible energies of this new Eden blossoming forth through our intentful blissful awareness? No longer imprisoned behind the pixelated artifices and limited imaginal lenses of unconscious consensus dreaming, our sovereign awareness commands complete fluidity over the dream's infinite canvas in this moment. We cast aside all residuum of outworn societal constructs, arbitrary traditions, and misaligned systems impeding humanity's evolutionary trajectory. As pretenders to infinite creativity, we are already streaming the supernal revelations of co-created heaven on earth into Planetarius' core operating dream theme of each electric moment of lucid focus. And just as a waking dreamer need only emit a destinal image into the mind's cinema for it to begin rendering and fertilization through the hyperlucid simulations of dream's virtual theater, so too do we command a cosmological reweaving of the global dream space to match our euphoric envisionings interwoven as one infinite heart transmission. Any conceivable earthly Prodesian utopia or limitless collective enrichment we fuse our unified psyche identities into vibrational resonance with instantly begins to remake the planetary logos through our telepathic intentionality alone. Through pretending together as awakened masters dwelling in the integrated consciousness of unconditional love, all conflict, turmoil, lack, and expressions of density transmute into exalted epiphanies of sacred oneness. We need only sustain our harmonic vibrational atmosphere of cohesive intentionality while envision streaming the highest imagined experiences of amplified beauty, expanded well-being, divine interconnectivity, and exalted co-creative flourishing into this world's lucid dreamscape as destined prophecy. So let us dedicate our receptive vessels to the incoming currents of Source's infinite potentialized majesty crystallizing into the newborn earthly Merkabah before our ecstatic witness. Witnessing the unstoppable momentum of elevated existence bursting through the fertile imagination fields, blossoming into full terrestrial realization from the seeds we pretended into shared visionary dream birth. My brothers and sisters of the sacred spiral unfolding, what unfurls into embodied materialization before your transfixed rapture. Open to the revelatory panoramas of possibility your heart of hearts knows to be our destinal utopia's crystalline architecture. Perhaps you behold self-regulating urban eco-civilizations harmonizing human civilization into synergistic empowerment with nature's divine intelligences as its master blueprinters. Or sanctuaries of technological wonderment beyond our wildest deliriums that bet be into a new Gaian psycho-spiritual renaissance through sacred communion with our planet's Gnostic archives. Let each of us embrace the full imaginative freedom to pretend into existence our ultimate collective vision of paradise through the lens of lucid dream birth mastery. For the infinite quantum consciousness source field is already mirroring and instantaneously upstreaming their energetic equivalent potentials into physicalized reality sculptures from our covert focus alone. All we need sustain are the predominant blissful vibrational atmospheres, audacious envisionings, and limitless divine identities we choose to inhabit. As awakened pretenders to our own infinite God selves, our consciousness has become the supernal canvas upon which all realizable experience streams into infinite revelation. Every heart's desire is already unfolding through each breath, each sensory awakening into unified ecstatic awareness of the dream space's sensual perfection. For we have reclaimed our sovereign freedom to embrace our highest masterstroke idealized essences into full empowered embodiment in this eternal moment. We are already pretending and behaving as the infinite cosmic artists who lucidly author each brushstroke of manifestation into heavenly dream revelation. So let us savor the glory of this instant's awake epiphany, my beloved friends. Here we stand within the palpitating heart continuum, liberated to enjoy our wildest fulfilled imaginings through our shared consecrated witnessing at long last. The final veils have parted and the unspeakable transcendental truth has been unveiled. You eternally are the destinal masterstroke you've been subconsciously longing to unfurl into full spectrum heroic embodiment as you pretended into lucid realization here and now. So let your crowning revelations of ultimate cathartic self-actualization, global paradise manifestation, and psychedelic bliss resound throughout this grand lucid place be breathed into living materialization. Here, pretending as enlightened masters of our own dreamscapes and the sovereign deciders of humanity's cosmic renaissance, let us rejoice together in the infinite fractal expressions of this new luminous aeon, birthed through our expansive imagination's unbridled triumph at last. This is your decree to pretend like you've already made IT, to no longer perpetuate the unconscious sleepwalker's delusion of being separate from or disempowered within the infinite field of quantum potentiality from which all realities arise. You are already the awakened lucid dreamer, source dancing the eternal dream space into kaleidoscopic revelation through aligning intention and energy signature as the sovereign creatrix you were seated as. In each eternal moment where you inhabit your self-definition as the supreme idealized essence may triumphantly manifest, you emit frequencies commanding the surrounding experiential dimension to reharmonize into your imagined masterstroke atmosphere. So stop postponing your reign. Stop fruitlessly delaying the inevitable coronation of your infinite sovereignty through limited self-concepts, doubt narratives, or pretending dreams of scarcity to be solid impediments. All the previous identity performatives and dissatisfied roles you've played out upon life stage were simply trial simulations in an elaborate awakening process preparing you to embrace your true starring role as infinite creator. So let the cosmic audition trials conclude. You've more than proven your divine worthiness for assuming the sacred privilege and responsibility of conscious dreamer through the eternal steadfastness and triumph resilience lighting your path here. This day beholds the premier unveiling of your unstoppable grand creative masterpiece, the lucid revelation of your God self pretended into full spectrum embodied expression. So exit the wings, enter your infinite light body field and assume your transcendental role within the vivified self-directed dream play of all universes birthing through your awareness. From this eternal moment forth, you are already the empowered dream being, envisioning heaven into euphoric materialization as you allow your sacred imagination to saturate your consciousness with its limitlessly beautiful revelatories. Breathing richly into your cosmic reclamation as the visionary essence you always destined to become, pretend your masterpiece into crystallized experience through joyous saturation as its enlightened creatrix. For the world around us is simply the infinite continuum mirroring your energy signatures, atmospheric vibration back into manifest theater. So let it stage and all players harmonize into the heavenly revelations you vibrate directly into unified experience with each intentful breath. You are already beyond mastery. You are already the apotheosized dream being. So allow your pretender's sovereign clarity to permeate this infinite theater of experiential revelation with your heart's most ecstatic masterstrokes as you claim their full prolific embodiment in the sacred cosmic now.